Hey everybody, I'm going to try to move it a little bit. There we go. I know my head's chopped off. I haven't perfected this. I have a bigger board. I have not found it yet. It's probably in my garage. But overall, what I'm going to try to do is what I'm going to call Gecko Overload. I did something like that with snakes. They call it snake overload. If anyone was on my old YouTube channel, they're going to get it. If you didn't, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But basically what Gecko Overload is going to be is me teaching certain simple subjects. And we're going to get into complex subjects too. I want to talk about marketing. I want to talk about genetics. I want to talk about breeding. I want to talk about feeding. I want to talk about what you get when you do this. I want to talk about line bred traits and codominant traits and incomplete dominance and dominance. And we'll break down one genetic. We'll talk about white and yellow eventually. We'll talk about bell albino and tremper albino and rainwater albino and everything. With the very first segment, I'm going to talk about recessive genes. I might get a little bit into dominant genes, but we're going to talk about recessive genes at first. Recessive genes pretty easy. Now I'm going to go out of the camera and I'm going to be talking and drawing on this board. So I know this is kind of rough right now, but we're going to get it better. Okay? We're going to do better, and hopefully this turns into something that you guys like. And I'm going to do Gecko Overload snippets in my normal videos. Okay, so it's going to be all in the one. Orner Exotics is. I'm going to go back to what I used to be, and we're gonna have some fun. I'm going to show you guys what I'm about. I'm not about this drama stuff that everyone else is about. I'm about, let's get down to the geckos. Okay, let's talk about recessive genes. Okay, recessive genes is pretty simple. Let's take my favorite of all time, albinos. And that's Bell albinos. So we have Bell albino. And I'm not sure if you guys can read that or not, but that says Bell albino. Now, we're going to take, let's say you get yourself 1.0 Bell albino. So you got a male Bell albino. So do real quick. The one before the point is how many males you have. The number after the point is how many females you have. So let's say we have a male Bell albino, but we don't have enough money to go out and get ourselves a female Bell albino. So we get a female het Bell albino. So now you need 2 copies of the gene of Bell albino to create it. So, and I'm sorry, you're hearing some males wiggling their tail back there if you guys heard that. So what we're going to do is make a simple Punnett square. And this is very simple. You guys can figure it out at home. It is just a square like this. So for the gene Bell albino, we're going to make it a capital A. Since this is a showing of a Bell albino, it's got 2 traits of Bell albino, making it a visual morph. So it's 2 capital A's. We're going to put the male here, so we have a capital A and a capital A. I'm trying to make it simple for everybody, because there is people out there that just doesn't get the scientific part. So now the het Bell albino is going to look normal, but it carries the gene to make a Bell albino. So we're going to go ahead and give this, since it's a het, and I misspelled Bell albino. Alright, there we go. Since it's a het and it carries a gene, it doesn't have them 2 copies to make it. So it's going to get a capital A and a lowercase a. The lowercase a is going to represent normal. Okay? So we're going to go ahead in the Punnett square and we're going to put the lowercase a and the capital A. Now this is pretty simple now. All you got to do is, how many, if I breed this, how many Bell albinos should I get? Well, this is all off percent. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I do not have a paper towel to wipe this board off. Now I do, because I can't find my eraser either. But we'll get into that. Now, what's going to happen is, you all know that geckos only lay 2 eggs at a time, leopard geckos. But they'll give you anywhere from 6 to 12, sometimes 14, 16 eggs a year. So it's off a percent. Now the percent is, if you go out the Punnett square, this is 25% chance, 25% chance, 25% chance, 25% chance. Alright? So we're going to see this. We bring down the capital A there. We bring over to capital A. Bring it down. Bring it over. Now look at this. Now we got a lowercase. So what's this tell you? It tells you, now look, we gave the 100% het bell albino that looks normal a capital A and a lowercase. So that means it's going to look normal but carry that gene. You're going to get 50% of your babies are going to look like mom but carry that 100% het bell. Then you're going to get 50% of the babies that look like dad. It's going to carry that gene. It's that simple. 50% of the babies should be bell albino. 50% of the babies should be normal looking that are het bell albino. It's that simple. It really is. Now it does get more complicated when we start adding more genes in, like snow bell and all the other stuff, but you got to get the basics down first. 50% of these babies should be bell, 50% should be het. So you're looking at that saying, okay, but what if, you know, you add a bell albino, another bell albino? So let's say that you don't have 100% het bell albino. Now I know some of the people out there are going to be like, well, Gary, I know what that's going to be, but some people don't, okay? Some people don't know what, if you breed two bell albinos, what's going to happen. So we're going to go over it. So if you got a female bell and a male bell, we're going to go ahead and do this. Two capital A's. It's a visual. Okay? So we got to add the two capital A's here. Capital, capital. And we're going to go ahead and fill in this square. As you see, all of them are going to be bell albino. 100%. Now I'm going to switch it up on you a little bit. The reason is both carry the genes to make the bell albino. All of them will be bell albino. Now we're going to go ahead and switch this up on you. We've seen what we do when we have a visual. I get all the time, what if I have a het? So let's say we have a het bell male and a het bell female. So we're going to give it a capital A and a lowercase, remember, because the bell in it is going to carry the capital A. The normal in it is going to carry the lowercase since it's a het bell. So we're going to draw our Punnett square here. And what we're going to do is a capital, lowercase, a capital, and a lowercase. Now this is where it gets tricky and everyone gets, you know, a little confused. We're going to get 25% is going to be bell albino. Now, where it gets tricky is, as you see, we have two that have like mom and dad, but they're going to look normal, and then we're going to have two lowercase letters in another one. Remember, these are all 25% chances. So you're going to have a 50% chance at het bells. You're going to have a 25% chance at normals. This is how you get the 66% het something. The reason is you cannot tell the difference between the hets and the normals. So you take this out of it, 66% chance because you got 33 because you took this out. Them are it. So you got to say these are then turn into 33% chances. Okay, you following me? It doesn't get where it gets a little difficult. So these are going to become 66% since they are the majority. 66% het, even these, because you can't tell the difference. So you're going to produce a bunch. Some 25% should be bell albino. The rest are going to be 66% het. Only 50% of the clutch is going to be het on average, but you can't tell what's what. So that's where it gets confusing. Everyone's like, well, how is it possible het? Because there's no breeder in the world that can tell a het. So that's why. I know this is kind of quick and it's kind of like in your face, and we will get over it. If you have questions, post them, please. I'll cover things over in future episodes. But this is basically how it goes. It's that easy. You can do it with single gene animals this easy. If you got a Tremper albino or any recessive, a blizzard, we can make that a blizzard and you'll get 25. If you got two het blizzards, you got 25% het blizzards. 50% of them are going to be het blizzards. You're going to get blizzards, het blizzards, and normals. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between the hets and the normals, so they're going to become 66% hets. You got to prove them out or sell them as 66% het and have the people prove them out. It's kind of a fun lottery game. Now, the dominant gene type thing is kind of weird. So we're not going to get into that. It would be a 15 to 20 minute episode just for dominant genes. But the big thing about when you're breeding, and this is why it's important to know about your hets, is because if you're breeding something, you don't want any surprises popping up. That's why it's very important to, you know, record what you're breeding and make sure you're honest about it. That's the biggest ticket. If you got something that is possible het tremper, tell someone it's possible het tremper. If you got something that's possible het bell, tell them, so they can prove it out before they put it into a project, or they can make a decision of maybe not buying that animal. It's not going to fit their project. But let's go over something one more time. Let's get off bell a little bit so people know. Let's go into eclipse. If we have a het eclipse, and we're not going to get into multiple gene animals right now. I need my bigger board for that, and I don't want to confuse people. But then let's say you got a male het eclipse and you got a female that is eclipse. Okay, so now let's go use E because A for albino, but let's use E. Remember, he carries the male's carrying a gene, so you want to give him one capital E for the trait and one lowercase e. And this is an eclipse, so let's give it two capital E since it's a visual. Okay, the het's going to have one copy of that gene. Now you're going to draw your Punnett square. It's very simple. For the male, we'll put the male up top to this time. We're going to put capital E and a lowercase e. Capital E for the female and a capital E for the female. So this is on a percent basis. Remember, each one of these squares equals 25% chance. Okay? So up here, you're going to see E from the top, E from the side. You're getting two capital E's. And this one, you're getting a capital E, lowercase e. This one, you're going to get a capital E and a capital E. This one here, you're going to get a capital E, a lowercase e. So here you're going to get 50% of your animals should be eclipse. 50% are going to be het. And you know that they're going to be het because there's no possibilities. Everyone's got a capital E. Everyone's got at least one copy of that gene. That's what you got to remember, and that's the important part. You got to know what you're breeding. And if anyone ever has any questions about any recessive, dominant, codominant, incomplete dominance, line bred traits, go ahead, email me. I'm going to set up an email just for this, and you guys can email me. Put a message in the YouTube comments, or go to the geckoblog.com and go to our Facebook page and comment. Ask the questions. My whole goal is to educate the people instead of fight with the people. So we're going to educate people. This is very important. It's very basic. I know some people are going to laugh at me and say, well, Gary, we knew that. Well, there's some people out there that didn't. And maybe they're too scared to ask online. But don't be scared to send me a personal message. I'm never going to put you down. I'm never going to laugh at you. I don't care if you say, if I breed a Tremper albino to a blizzard, what do I get? And that's what we're going to talk about next episode, is starting to combine two recessive genes and seeing what we get. All right? So this has been Gary Orner, Orner Exotics, and this is just the first episode of Gecko Overload. And we're going to be talking geckos a lot. So thanks, and I'm out.